Welcome to lecture number 4 of the Erasmus Plus project AHEAD in VET, Vocational Education and Training. In this session, we'll be focusing on a crucial and timely topic: psychological development, adolescence, gender identity, and the teacher's role. This lecture is divided into two main parts: a theoretical section, where we'll explore the psychological and developmental aspects of adolescence, and a practical section, offering tools, strategies, and real-life examples that educators can apply in their daily teaching practice. Let's begin by laying the foundation with some key theoretical insights. Adolescence is a critical stage in psychological development, a time when young people begin forming a stronger sense of identity. According to Erik Erikson's theory, this period is marked by the challenge of identity versus role confusion, where individuals begin asking themselves, "Who am I?" A key part of this emerging identity is gender identity, a deeply personal sense of self that is shaped by many influences: family, peers, culture, and media. Creating supportive environments during this time is essential. When adolescents feel safe, seen, and accepted, they're more likely to develop resilience, a sense of belonging, and the confidence to express their authentic selves. As educators, our role is crucial. Teachers have the power to foster inclusive, respectful, and emotionally safe classrooms, spaces where every student can thrive. Some priority actions include promoting inclusivity, implementing anti-bullying strategies, encouraging open dialogue, and working in collaboration with school counselors and families. Strength-based approaches that focus on students' capacities and potential are especially effective. In vocational education and training (VET) settings, this work goes even further. The classroom culture we create not only shapes individual development but also prepares students to bring inclusive values into the workplaces of the future. Before we dive deeper, let's take a moment to look at the learning objectives for this lecture. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand the key aspects of psychosocial and gender development during adolescence. Identify common challenges adolescents face in shaping their identity and maintaining emotional well-being. Apply psychological theory to real-life classroom case studies, making the link between research and everyday teaching practice. And finally, reflect on your role as a teacher in supporting students through this critical stage of development. These objectives will guide both the theoretical discussion and the practical examples we'll explore throughout the lecture. Let's begin with an overview of psychosocial development during adolescence, a stage of profound psychological growth. According to Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development, adolescence, typically between the ages of 12 and 18, is defined by the developmental conflict of identity versus role confusion. During this stage, the central task is to form a coherent and stable sense of self. This process involves two key elements: exploration, where adolescents try out different roles, beliefs, and values, and commitment, where they begin to integrate those choices into a consistent identity. When this process is successful, it leads to a strong sense of identity, purpose, and belonging. But if the process is disrupted or unsupported, it may result in confusion, instability, or feelings of alienation. Adolescents also face a range of external pressures: peer influence, academic expectations, and changing family dynamics, all of which can shape their emotional well-being. During this time, their mental health is closely linked to social acceptance and a sense of belonging. Gender identity is a fundamental part of overall identity development, and it becomes particularly significant during adolescence. So, what is gender identity? Simply put, it refers to a person's deeply felt sense of being male, female, both, neither, or somewhere along a broader gender spectrum. The developmental trajectory of gender identity begins early. Many children express gender awareness at a young age. But during adolescence, identity exploration often intensifies. As young people gain more autonomy and social awareness, they may reflect more deeply on their gender identity. For some, this may include social or even medical transitions. This journey is shaped by many influences: family acceptance, peer support, cultural norms, and media representations all play a role in either affirming or challenging a young person's sense of self. For gender-diverse youth, the stakes can be especially high. Experiences of bullying, stigma, and social exclusion significantly increase the risks of anxiety, depression, and suicidality. But there's also good news. When adolescents feel supported, they are more likely to develop resilience, authenticity, and a healthy, integrated sense of gender identity. Here's the key point: adolescents exploring their gender identity are not only asking, "Who am I?" They're also asking, "Is it safe to be me here?" As educators, our response to that question can make a lasting difference. As educators, we play a powerful and daily role in shaping how adolescents experience themselves, their peers, and the world around them. Supporting students' psychosocial and gender development is not a one-time action. It's embedded in the classroom culture we create, the language we use, and how we respond in everyday interactions. First and foremost, it's essential to create an inclusive, respectful classroom culture. This means consistently using students' correct names and pronouns and ensuring that lessons and materials reflect diverse identities, including gender diversity. Setting clear ground rules early on, such as mutual respect and zero tolerance for derogatory remarks, helps establish a safe learning environment for all. One effective strategy is to co-create a classroom agreement with your students at the start of the school year. For example, you might say, "In this class, we all deserve to feel safe and respected. Let's write down together the values that matter most for how we treat each other." Celebrating each student's strengths and contributions also reinforces a sense of belonging and value. Addressing bullying immediately is critical. When derogatory comments or discriminatory behavior occur, intervene right away. Make it clear that such behavior is not acceptable, while focusing on the action rather than labeling the student as a bad person. For example, you might respond by saying, "Stop. That language is not acceptable here. In this class, everyone deserves respect." After the incident, it's important to follow up with both the targeted student and the one who caused harm. To the targeted student, you might say, "I saw what happened. I want you to know I take it seriously, and I'll follow up so this doesn't continue." To the other student, you might say, "The words you used hurt others. Let's talk about what led to that and how you can repair the harm." This helps promote awareness and accountability while maintaining a supportive environment. Collaborate with school leadership to ensure consistent enforcement of anti-bullying policies. Encouraging open dialogue and normalizing help-seeking are also important parts of your role. Regularly remind students that it's okay to ask for help, whether it's academic or personal. Structured tools like daily check-in scales or anonymous exit tickets can create safe opportunities for students to share concerns. Use inclusive language that acknowledges the range of experiences your students may have, and create space for discussions about respect, identity, and resilience. For example, you might say, "Sometimes school or life outside of school feels overwhelming. If you're struggling, it doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. My door is open, and so are our counselors." Working collaboratively with school counselors and families is another key aspect of support. When you notice a student may need additional help, refer them to school counselors or mental health staff, ideally with their involvement and consent. Communicate carefully with families, especially in situations where home might not be a safe space for students exploring gender identity. You might say, "I've noticed you seem withdrawn lately. I'd like to connect you with someone you can talk to. We'll go together if you like, and you can decide what you want to share." Sharing classroom observations with counselors and colleagues can also help build a more complete picture of a student's needs. Finally, adopt a strength-based approach. Focus on what students do well, and help them see their abilities and potential. Recognize skills, interests, and efforts, and highlight moments of positive peer interaction. Support the development of confidence through small, achievable goals, both academic and social. For example, if a student is quiet but skilled with technology, give them a meaningful role in a group project. You might say, "I see how focused you are when you work on projects." That kind of dedication is a real asset in this profession. Here's a conclusion to our session, and a few key takeaways to keep in mind as you reflect on today's themes. Adolescence is a sensitive and formative period, marked by significant psychological, emotional, and social changes. It's a time when young people are actively exploring their identity, searching for belonging, and trying to understand their place in the world. The support, or lack of it, they receive during this stage can have long-lasting effects on their self-esteem and mental well-being. Gender identity exploration is often a central part of this process. While it can be deeply affirming, it also brings challenges, especially in environments where acceptance is limited. In unsupportive contexts, students may experience stress, social exclusion, or mental health struggles. But when their identity is affirmed, and when they feel safe to be themselves, they often develop greater resilience, self-acceptance, and emotional strength. Teachers play a critical role on the front lines of this development. You are often the first to notice signs of withdrawal, distress, or bullying, and your response can make a meaningful difference. Small actions, like using a student's chosen name, offering a listening ear, or creating an inclusive classroom agreement, can help students feel seen and supported. Schools also have a powerful role to play. With inclusive policies, proactive practices, and strong collaboration between staff, families, and counselors, schools can act as protective environments that promote psychological safety and healthy identity development. In summary, supportive, inclusive, and attentive educational environments don't just help adolescents survive these critical years, they help them thrive, both as individuals and as future members of an inclusive society.